Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Blight League discussion. Path of Exile Blight comes out in about 12 hours time, and we just got the Anointing Enchantments table. Now this is available on the Path of Exile official website, and it contains a list of all 364 possible combinations of oils. Oils are a new type of item that are going to drop in the various Blight content. We don't know all of the details as yet, but we have a sense that they will vary in rarity considerably, with clear oils being the most common, up to golden oils being the rarest or the hardest to get for other reasons, like maybe they only drop in the highest tier of content. We don't actually know anything about how rare these are going to be in practice. The only gameplay footage we've seen showed an encounter where a player at low level received, I believe it was 2 clear oil and 1 sepia oil for completing an encounter. Now, there are several uses for your oils. The first one, and the main one, is using 3 of them to anoint an amulet. Anointing an amulet puts an enchantment on the amulet, similar to the Labyrinth enchant system, but you have complete control over what the enchantment will be. That enchantment will be one of the notable passive tree notable nodes. So those are the bigger ones that have a larger effect on your character, but they're not the huge ones that have a transformative effect, usually with a big drawback. So think things like Golem's Blood, which is a life regeneration notable on the tree, rather than things like Resolute Technique, which transforms your build by making your character unable to miss and unable to deal critical strikes. You'll notice early on that there's very easy access to 3 quite nifty little nodes, Alacrity, Beef, and Agility, Wisdom of the Glade as well. All of these early ones mean that you can use your amulet slot to find a 30 to a stat item early in the league. So if you're having trouble while you're leveling up, you'll have a whole bunch of clear oils, sepia oils, and amber oils, I expect. Those are the lowest tier 3. If you're finding yourself unable to level up a gem or unable to equip a new piece of equipment because of, say, an intelligence requirement, go for one of these particular nodes. And you'll be able to check before you actually commit to it. These will help you out a lot, especially the ones that provide larger boosts to stats. So this will be a good spot to start out while you're leveling. None of these will be particularly precious at endgame. However, I'm expecting that the golden oils in particular will be quite valuable at the endgame. So I want to talk about some of the most powerful things you can potentially do with this system for your endgame characters. The first node that I want to bring up is Overcharged. Now, just be careful, there is Overcharge and there is Overcharged, and the one we're interested in is Overcharged. We're at the past tense version. So that's a clear oil, plus an opalescent oil, plus a silver oil. What this node does is it provides an 8% chance when you kill an enemy to gain a random type of charge, power, frenzy, or endurance. On an endgame mapping character that is moving fast, this essentially means that most of the time you will have all of your charges full while you're actively mapping. They will fall off during bosses, but for just running through maps quickly, as long as you're able to kill an average of, if you're killing 30 enemies, per 6 seconds, so that's 5 enemies a second, which is about 120 seconds per map. So if you're doing maps in 2 minutes, then you'll be killing about 6 enemies a second. That means that over a 10-second period, how long it takes your charges to fall off, you'll have killed 60 enemies. On average, you'll receive 1.6 of each charge in that time. Now that is an average, and randomness will cause the charges to fall off at some times. But if you're killing 6 enemies a second, then this will be enough to keep your charges up most of the time, but not absolutely all of it. Of course, if you're able to get even faster still, and having 3 frenzy charges, 3 power charges, and 3 endurance charges certainly helps with that, then you'll be well positioned. So this is something for clear speed builds, and it doesn't require any of the top tier oils. We currently believe opalescent is the 3rd tier oil, and silver is the 2nd tier oil, with clear being one of the low tiers. The next one that I want to point out is, and these are starting to get to the expensive ones. Let's jump up to our Golem's Blood. Golem's Blood, right near the bottom here. Teal oil and 2 golden oils. Golden oils are the ones we expect to be rare. This is just such a powerful regeneration node that even on characters that aren't trying to build around having a lot of life regen, Golem's Blood is just such a high-powered node that you may want to consider it. Next one that I want to point out, there's a number of very powerful aura bot oriented nodes. So there's Charisma, there's Sovereignty. These give aura effect, they give reduction cost reservation, reduced mana reservation cost. Mana reservation reduction is very, very powerful in this game, especially if you're a sort of character that is finding you're having severe mana troubles and you want to try and get a few more levels into precision or into clarity on a build. Reducing the cost and increasing the effect of your auras is really strong, and so you should give some thought to those. Next up we have Whispers of Doom, a black oil and 2 golden oils. You'll notice there's a lot of golden oils being used here. Golden oils could be quite expensive, we don't yet know. Whispers of Doom allows you to have 1, it increases your curse limit by 1. Very, very powerful effect. Lastly, we have 2 more that I want to point out, and these are the 2 that will be the most expensive. Constitution. This is the node at the center of the Scion life wheel. It provides a whopping 14% max life. In other words, it is just an amazing node. Most life characters do path to the Scion life wheel. For everyone else, there's Constitution. And lastly, we have Soul of Steel. This is 3 golden oils. Golden oils will be the most expensive, so this is not going to be something you're going to be putting on just any old amulet. But when you've got an amulet that you're confident, this is going to be the one you're going to be wearing for the rest of the league. Soul of Steel is the incredibly powerful node that's sort of in the area between the Duelist and the Marauder. It provides +1 to maximum resistances, that is all 3 elemental maximum resistances, and it provides 5% physical mitigation, and it provides more. The last bit's just armor, but still, you won't kick that when it's offered to you for free. This is a tremendously powerful node, and it's one that I think that everyone that isn't pathing to Soul of Steel on the tree should probably aspire to having this, unless you've got some good reason why you need something else more. That said, though, there's plenty of other compelling choices. There's Vengeant Cascade, which is something you can only get through this system, which allows your projectiles to return after they've exhausted all of their chains and forks. Very, very powerful node potentially for some builds. And there's just so many other options that I think that theory crafters are going to have a lot on their hands trying to get to the bottom of how to use this system best. Broadly speaking, though, the closer that an enchantment is to the top of this table, the cheaper it will be to craft, and the closer that you get to the bottom, the more expensive that the enchant will be to craft. Next up, we have the tower enchantments available by Anointing Rings. I would suggest that you always throw spare lower tier oils on your rings while you're leveling. They will make your towers, your Blight towers, stronger than they otherwise are. I need to sort of test this out in practice, but I'm assuming that these will be quite useful to have while you're leveling up, especially if you're struggling a bit with the Blight content. I don't, however, think that you want to go to the extent of doubling the range of your empowering towers, whatever they end up being, because this is going to have just such a high opportunity cost. You don't want to spend that much currency, 2 precious golden oils that could be used to make your amulet amazing against the whole game, just in order to upgrade a ring so that you're a bit better at the Blight content. Of course, could be wrong, and golden oils may be in more supply than I'm expecting. But lastly, there's a really interesting little system here. Map modifiers available by Anointing blighted maps. Now, what we've got here is a number of options that increase the potential rewards of the map and also have some impact upon the difficulty of the map as well. So you can spend a clear oil on a map to inflict 10% reduction to monster movement speed, which makes the map easier, and 5% monster pack size. Clearly this is going to be something that is going to be a good use for your clear oils late in the game, and it's not the only one available as well. Sepia oils can be used to make your towers considerably better, amber oils make your towers cheaper, and I'm expecting that to be a very powerful effect. If you're struggling with blighted maps, I think amber oils may be the way to go. Verdant oils just put a lot more monsters on the map, which is always a bonus. And then we start getting this Blight chests are lucky. I have no idea what exactly that means in practice, but it could be powerful, it could not be. We're just going to have to do some serious testing. Azure Oils have the interesting 15% increased experience gain. We'd have to see how good the Blighted maps are for XP. If it turns out that they're considerably inferior to things like Purified Breachstones, then this is not going to be very relevant at all. But if they're at least close enough to Pure Breachstones that they're clearly worth running, then this might tip them over the edge, and we might see a situation where people are really going berserk to use these. And then from there on, we have the oils that I'm suspecting are going to be a bit rarer and that have larger effects. So firstly, 30% increased item quantity and 5% pack size. Then 3 Blight chests are lucky, 5% pack size. Then we have a 10% chance for Blight chests to drop an additional reward and 5% pack size. 25% pack size from the opalescent oil. That's a huge amount. Silver oil giving 5% chance for Blight chests to be lucky and 5 Blight chests are lucky and 5% monster pack size. And the golden oil has this 25% chance for Blight chests to drop an additional reward and more pack size. I have a feeling that there will be a point at which the cost of using the currency ceases to be worth it, but we're just going to have to see how rare the oils are in practice. I'm going to work on the initial assumption that opalescent oils will be something of the order 30 to 50 chaos, silver oils will be triple that, and golden oils will be triple that. Of course, they could be much more common than I'm expecting, and we'll find that out. If I'm right on that front, then you probably only want to use up to about crimson oil. Use the first 8 to augment your maps, and then only use black, opalescent, silver, and golden oils if there is a challenge related to it. Anyways, definitely check out this thread. I think it will be something that will be worth your while having saved and having a bookmark to it, so that when you're leveling up, you can then just go and say, okay, I've got a whole bunch of cheaper oils. I've got some clear oils, I've got some sepia oils, I've got some amber oils. I want to craft something. What's a useful passive that I can get for the moment? And then when you're at endgame, you can say, okay, I've got an amulet that is amazing. I'm not going to upgrade for a long time, so what do I want to start saving up for? And before you save up for the big one, of course, throw something useful on it in the short term, but then look to upgrade from it later. If you've got any questions about this system, definitely fire away below. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one. I'm off to start recording more of my build videos.